This was a terrorist attack that was foiled, and it looks like it was linked to China, like I was talking about when I originally brought it up last week. It looks like this is linked to China. Now the question is, what are we going to do about it? Thwarted plot to cripple cell service in New York was bigger than first thought, according to sources. The U.S. Secret Service discovered what they say was a China-linked plot. Now, if you don't know what happened here, last week during the United Nations, it was found by Secret Service during an investigation looking into credible threats against our sitting politicians. They found in an apartment or some building a bunch of cellular devices, a bunch of SIM cards and all kinds of stuff. And it was enough to launch an attack that would have crippled the entire phone network, cellular network in New York City at a time when some of the world's most powerful people were there. This was absolutely not just a national security threat for us, but this was a national security threat for many different countries that we're visiting. This is a massive plot that was thwarted. So a thwarted plot to cripple the telecommunication systems in New York was bigger than investigators first realized, adding to the urgency of their search for answers, sources told ABC News. Federal agents discovered additional locations and more equipment as they worked to determine the ultimate goal of what the U.S. Secret Service said was a China-linked plot that could have crippled every cell tower in the nation's largest city, jammed 911 calls, and unleashed chaos on communication networks. If this attack had gone through, guys, you would not have been able to use your cell phone. What they would have done, it would have been a denial of service attack. It would have been DDoS, direct denial of service. What they would have done is flooded the phone networks to the point where you wouldn't be able to make calls. You wouldn't be able to use your phone. You need to call 911? Too bad. Phone's jammed up. That's what this would have done. Think about the absolute chaos that would have been enacted here. And obviously our government and our president would have back channels in order to have communications and stuff. But think about emergency services and law enforcement. This was an absolute threat on all of the entire city. And we had multiple officials from other countries visiting at this time. Agents from Homeland Security Investigations found an additional 200,000 SIM cards at a location in New Jersey, law enforcement sources told ABC News. That's double the 100,000 SIM cards, along with hundreds of servers that were recently seized at 5 other vacant offices and apartments in and around the city. We need to find who owns these offices and buildings. We need to find who was setting these things up, and they need to be held accountable. And like I said last time, if China was at all responsible for this, they're claiming this is a China-linked plot. This is a declaration of war. This is an act of war from China. If it's found that they did this, this is absolutely an act of war. This would have caused chaos in one of the world's largest cities. Investigators secured each of those locations, seized the electronics, and are now trying to track down who rented the spaces and filled them with shelves full of gear capable of sending 30 million anonymous text messages every minute, overloading communications and blacking out cellular services in a city that relies on it for emergency responses and counterterrorism. Not just phone calls. They're saying that this would have knocked out the ability to send text messages. It would have overwhelmed the cell towers to the point you couldn't text someone. The potential threat these data centers pose to the public could include shutting down critical resources that the public needs, like 911 systems, or potentially impacting the public's ability to communicate everything, including business transactions, said Don Malek, on ABC News contributor who was formerly with the Secret Service. According to sources, the investigation began after several high-level people, including at least one with direct access to President Donald Trump, were targeted not only by swatters, but also with actual threats received on their private phones. Authorities have so far made no arrest on this. This is scary, guys. What other cities may have something like that? Like, if they're doing this in New York, are they doing this in other cities? That would be my next question. Are they doing this in other cities? And what is our government doing to stop things like this? If this is a China-linked plot, I'm sorry, I think we need to remove every Chinese citizen from the country until we get a handle on this. Every single Chinese citizen needs to be removed from the country. Every illegal immigrant needs to be removed from the country. We need to secure our cities and we need to secure our borders. If people are coming in our country and trying to launch attacks such as this, especially at such a pivotal moment when the United Nations has all these world leaders visiting, that's dangerous. That's an act of war. This could have, you can make all the assumptions you want. This could have seriously impacted the city. This could have caused mayhem and chaos if people weren't able to send phone calls and text messages or complete business transactions. That's absolutely dangerous. I'm glad that it was foiled, but now I'm worried to think that this might be going on in other places like, I don't know, Los Angeles. This might be going on in other places like San Francisco. What other cities have issues like this that they're not telling us about? That's what worries me, guys. Every city and every state is at risk. And the only way we fix that, right, is if we remove the threat. I'm fine with Chinese Americans. You mean like citizens of China within the U.S.? I mean like people with visas that are here from China. Not talking about people that are American citizens. American citizens, they need to have a reason to have their citizenship revoked and sent back to China. If they're already American citizens, they need to have due process and all that good stuff that we all have afforded to us. But I'm talking about Chinese people from China that are Chinese citizens, here on visas, here to work, here to vacation, whatever. Remove them. Remove them until we get a handle on this. If this is something that China put together, we need to remove everybody from China. We just need to get them out of the country until we can get a handle on things. Reminds me of the trusty 1775 cell phone. Get yours today. It's just a dude on a horse yelling. Or our newest model, a dude on a horse with a piece of paper. Enjoy cell service at 1 horsepower by now. Hell yeah, based. Anyway, yeah, we'll move on here, guys. But yeah, that's what I think. That's just my opinion on it. Obviously, I'm not in control of policy or anything, but I think we need to remove all the Chinese citizens that are here on visas and work visas and stuff until we can figure out what exactly happened here. Because if China is sending in their citizens to act as military and create acts of war, I'm fine with that as well, Mighty Pete. I'm fine with that as well. You guys could read what he said right up there. You could read what he said. I'm also fine with that, Mighty Pete. But anyway, let's move things along here.